clear my voice. Hey, everybody, we are now recording. So I am here with the mighty Pete Vargas. Pete. All right, so I met Pete at an event, a Brendan Burchard event. And Pete has an amazing story, but he's probably one of the creepiest, humble guys you'd know. You wouldn't know that Pete has adopted multiple children. Him and his wife live in Colorado Springs, Colorado, beautiful Colorado. He doesn't smoke weed, in case you're wondering, because it's Colorado now. I just want to put that out there. Unless you do, and I'm lying, I don't know. But then Pete also owns a company where he teaches people how to advance your reach, right? Which is a big thing, which today is how to monetize your message and make an impact, which I believe speaking is the best way to do it. So let's go ahead and let Pete, man, if you could for a moment, brag on yourself. What do you do? Why do you do it? And how do you do it?
Yeah, come on, man. It's an honor to be on here. I'm so glad that Denise connected me with you and Kyrie. Just think you guys are, well, you're great. Kyrie's so-so. I know he is. That's why I said it. But, man, hey, I wanted to come outside. It's 70 degrees in Colorado today. It's beautiful. Trees behind us, mountains back here to our right. So I just thought, let's do this thing from outside today. So you guys, everybody cool with that?
I'm great with it. I like it. It makes me feel like I'm outside. It's raining out here, so I'm going to go with that.
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, my name is Pete Vargas. What's up, Kyrie?
I heard you talking crap.
I wasn't talking crap.
How you doing?
Hey, good, buddy. Good, man.
Actually, got stuff. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
So long story short, my why is advance your roots exist, and now I hear a little. I don't know if that's me, but advance your roots exist. Am I echoing or no?
You're not echoing, but you're like when you start talking, it cuts out. I don't know why.
Okay.
Now you're good.
All right. So I 13 years ago, I had the opportunity to hear a speaker. And probably a lot of people on here, I see life coach, I see coaches. It looks like you have some speakers on here. But 13 years ago, I experienced something really transformational in my life. And you see, I've read a lot. I've read some of Anthony's book. I'm trying to get through it. I don't always finish books. I start a lot of books and I don't finish them. But I grew up in the inner city of Dallas, Texas. And my earliest memory was my mom and dad deciding who was going to keep me and who was going to keep my sister. And it was in the inner city of Dallas. And dad won me that day. My mom won my sister. And it started 10 years of a terrible struggle with my dad. A lot of abuse. Some of my memories, early memories, were anytime the Dallas Cowboys lost, I would get a beating. I remember being left alone at a trailer park when I was in second grade for the entire weekend all by myself, and my dad telling me that I better be brave and not call my grandparents. Just terrible things that no kid should go through. Unfortunately, so many kids do go through. And so my grandparents brought me back into my grandparents are like, enough of this. You're coming to live with us. And so my teenage years, I lived with my grandparents. My dad got discharged from the military. My mom and him tried to work things out. It just didn't work out. They got back together. They got divorced not once but twice. And it was just a really terrible situation. So my dad came back into my life when I was a teenager. And this is why I do what I do. I tried everything. I took my dad to church. We got counseling. His 7 siblings and his parents would always tell him, Mijo, you have to make things right with your son. And Mijo, for those of you that don't know, is son. Yeah. You have to make things right with your son. It's the most important thing in your life. And nothing worked, dude. Nothing worked. And so long story short, I went to college. I knew I wanted to be the next Jerry Maguire. That's what a lot of people don't know about me. I wanted to be the dude who represented athletes because I thought athletes I know athletes can make a positive impact on our world, positive or negative. And I thought, you know what, if I can align myself with the Anthony Trucks of the world, and I can get enough of those guys on my team, I can change the world. And so I quickly realized that I had to go to 4 years of law school, and I said, all right, that's not for me. I'm not going to be a sports athlete. A sports agent. But here's what happened. Here's the cool thing that happened is I got a call, and I was graduating college. I was supposed to go to Dallas. I had this big job, 6-figure job, what everybody wants coming out of college. And a pastor calls me from Texas and says, hey, would you come take over as youth pastor here in Hereford? I'm like, yeah, maybe. I have no Bible training. What's the pay? Well, it starts at $18,000 a year. Like, ooh, wow, okay. something within me said, I've got to do this. I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back. First Wednesday night, it's this booming youth group. First Wednesday night, I go back, and 2 kids there. And I'm like, oh, my God, I got my work cut out for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, and whatever you do, I know people, universe, whatever, I prayed. I was like, what am I supposed to do to attract kids here? Because I know I got a positive message here. What am I supposed to do to attract kids? And I said, I'm going to bring in speakers. I'm going to bring in entrepreneurs. I'm going to bring in musicians. I'm going to bring in Super Bowl MVPs, Larry Brown of the Dallas Cowboys, Chad Hennings of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to bring in everybody you can think of. I'm going to attract people into this building, and they're going to come and experience this powerhouse of speakers. And here's the cool thing. Everybody's like, cool, you brought in motivational speakers. No, I brought in entrepreneurs, like the people who are watching right now, because I wanted my kids to learn how to begin to be servants and give back to society and the world. And so an entrepreneur would come speak, and then all of a sudden this building project that I'm trying to raise $1.3 million for my kids to have a cool place in this cow town, they're starting to contribute. Our kids are given $500 or $1,000 a week every single week because they heard an entrepreneur talk about, you want to be a great entrepreneur, you serve, you give, you work, you hustle. And now all of a sudden, little entrepreneurs are being created in my youth group.
Yeah.
And so I brought in speakers, and one time, this is my why. One time I said, dude, it was this guy, his daughter was the first girl killed at Columbine. My mentor up in Ohio said, you got to bring him into your hometown. I know you love to bring in speakers. I brought him in, sat on the front row. I was waiting for the kids to be impacted, just like they were by all of the speakers I brought in. He was at high school. I brought him in. I sat there and I was like, all right, I'm about to be able to, work with the kids and walk through their issues and help them overcome their struggles and their, because they're going through so much crap. And I sat there on the front row. His final challenge, I had my 3 kids here inside. His final challenge was, there are 5 people in your life that you need to go tell that you love them today. And he said, some of you aren't in good standings with those people, and it might not even be your fault, but you have to make things right. And dude, I just began to weep, and all I could think about is, I got to make things right with my dad. I have to make things right. I was like, I don't know what to do. And as he closed up that day, he said, we're hosting a parent event that night. And I was like, oh, yes, I forgot. I'm the one who put this event together. There's a parent component tonight. I'm going to drag my dad there. And for any of you out there that are watching, my dad's that guy who's a hard dude. He's not emotional. He doesn't tell you he loves you. He's, quite frankly, his past him, he's really an asshole. I mean, he really is. His old self he's just a mean man and bitter man and frustrated man. And so for me to get him to come out just to the event was a miracle that night. Him, my 2 aunts came out. That guy presented the same message. My dad didn't say a word. And at that point, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but at that point I was like, if that doesn't prompt you, look at all the other parents in this room. They're hugging their kids. They're hugging their grandkids. They're asking for forgiveness for the things that they've done as parents or grandparents. But you can't say a word, nothing. That doesn't get you. And I don't know if you've ever felt like you were about to give up, but that was the point where I was about to give up on that relationship with my dad. And then 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail, and my dad said, I'm sorry for the father I've been. I'm asking for a second chance to do things right. Here, my son is having impact on hundreds of kids' lives, and I can't have an impact on my only son's life. And I want you to know that I love you. And he told me multiple times in that letter, I love you, words that I hadn't heard in a really, really, really long time. And so the first thing I thought, Anthony, is like, oh my God, it's happened. And people are like, you really responded that way in your 20s? Dude, when you can make amends with the parents or a loved one in your life, doesn't matter when it happens. I've seen people at 55 make amends with the people in their life who hurt them. I was like a little boy. And so the first thing my mind thought was, that speaker, that guy I brought in, what prompted my dad to finally take action? So here's the funny story that I don't share from stage, but I solicited his cell phone number. I found an internet program because I didn't have his number. I went online, solicited his cell phone number. And I can solicit anybody's cell phone number out there. It's easy to find. But I solicited his cell phone number, and I said, Daryl, why aren't you sharing your message with everybody in the world? Why aren't you sharing your message with everybody in the world? And it's the same struggle, Anthony, that I hear from almost everybody that we work with, and probably many of the people who are viewing today. They said, I have a story. I have something for the world. I know I do, Pete. You got to experience it. Your dad got to experience it. Many of you, Anthony, as you told your story, there's so many people that have told you that, and so many of your viewers. But it's the part after that that people stumble. He goes, but I don't know how to create the revenues. I don't know how to get the stages. I don't know how to scale past the stage. I want to get my message out there to everybody, online, offline, internationally, big dreamer, like a lot of the people we surround ourselves with, big dreamers. But he didn't know how to create the revenues. I said, dude, you got a young 23-year-old kid here who I usually work like, 10. I always went in late to work because I was a youth pastor, because I'd stay at the football games and basketball games till 10 o'clock at night. So I said, I'm going to start getting up from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. before I go into my full-time job, and I'm going to figure it out for you. And over the last 13 years, me and my team have committed our lives, not just the people who are speakers, but people who feel like they have a message for the world. And we figured out the importance of speaking and how that builds your business, because without revenues, you can't have the reach that you want, period. You can't have the reach that you want. And so over the last 13 years, that was the first organization that we took on. And it was a single man, one man with a vision and a dream. He had no team. And today he has over 50 speakers who are sharing his content in schools and corporations all across the world, impacting 2 million people. A man who was really close to not knowing what to do anymore and possibly giving up on that story and dream within him. One of my favorite quotes is, don't let your music or story die within you. And Prince EA, I think that's how you say his name, Prince EA said, the greatest dreams and the greatest messages for the world actually live in the graveyard. That's what he says in one of his videos. And so that was what we've committed our life to the last 13 years. That's my enemy, is not allowing any powerful messages that can impact corporate, that can impact families, that can impact education, that can impact arts and entertainment, that can impact government. How much do we need it in government? That can impact 7 major sectors within our society that can change our world. We need those messages out there. And so they have to figure out how to get in front of the right people. And because of my life being impacted by this man, we've had the opportunity to help book people on over 25,000 stages the last 14 years. Online stages, offline stages, paid stages, free stages, speak to sell stages, every type of stage under the sun. We have been responsible for landing. And our motivation, we've done that now for, first off, we did it for 5 organizations, but now we're doing it for the masses, because I'm committed to people making sure that their message is heard by the world because of this man who changed my dad and I's life. So that's my why. That's what I do. That's who I am. And so I'll pause and shut up for a minute.
You're going to pause. I'm going to make you talk some more here in a moment, because there's a lot of questions that popped in my mind. And what I try to do is I try to think through what people who are viewing are starting to ask questions, right? Because the big thing is we all got these messages, right? Or sometimes we know we have something, but we can't formulate the message correctly. Because you could put me on a stage, but if I can't speak my message, I just lost the stage, right? So I guess the first thing is, like, before we get to the questions, how does somebody find their message and formulate the message that they feel comfortable getting on stage?
Oh, dude, that's great. So we do a training every single week, worldwide training for people. And this is what I talk about. Like the stage, that's easy, dude. I want to give your viewers something really practical that they can do today to go land a stage online that will give them business. So I want to do that before we hang up today. So make sure we come back to that.
Definitely.
But you nailed it, dude. You nailed it. If you can't tell your story, I can get you on. I can help you understand how to get on any stage in the world. Any stage in the world. Over time, I can show you the systematic approach to getting on any stage in the world. I'm the best in the world at it. But Anthony said, if you don't tell your story, you get on these stages and it's just going to be a bust. And so here's what I want. Here's what I want. I won't get into all the details of it, but you've got to first have the courage to be able to come out and share your story. You see, I came from a family where it's a disgrace if you share your story. Like my grandmother, I have some really big scars that I'm not sharing, and it was all hidden and it was all covered up, and it was supposed to be quiet and confidential. Like Don't talk about your dad, and don't talk about those things he's done. He's made mistakes. Don't talk about your past because, you know, I come from a family, a Hispanic family that's like really private and quiet. And so even my aunts and uncles didn't know my story or the depth of my story. So the first thing you have to do is overcome the fact and get the boldness and the courageous and the mindset. You have to have the mindset that it's okay to share your story, because so many people make it seem like it's a shameful thing or it's a wrong thing or it's a disgraceful thing. You know what? I told my dad, Dad, I'm sharing our story. And I want you to know that it is the hurts and it's the pains and it's the wounds. But I'm also telling them how your life was transformed because of the power of one person who had a message. And my stepmom texted me after they watched my video. I have a video up on our website, and I had to tell my dad because it was the first time that I was beginning to take my story public. And so I felt like I needed to have that courageous talk with my dad that I was sharing the story. And she texted me back and said he was, I mean, pretty much in tears when he watched it because and so the first thing you have to do is you have to give yourself permission and know that it's okay to share your story, because so many people need to hear your story. They do. And it's okay to share it. It's okay to share it. And it's okay to share it not in a dumping way, but in a way that's going to lead them to take action to change and to become better. So that's the first thing, dude, is people have to give themselves permission. And okay, you know, I'm so proud of Kyrie. I know Kyrie this week just shared his story on a podcast, and I know it's not something that he's made very public, but I want to tell you what, that's going to open up doors for Kyrie because he now gave himself permission to be able to share that. And so that's the first thing, dude. I mean, I can tell you the structure, but first people have to give themselves permission.
Yeah, I understand that. It makes complete sense. And then how do you, I'm sure you go to like story, like where should someone get started to understand how to put the story together? Because I know also stories, sometimes people don't know how to tell a story. Like I can have someone, you know, tell me this amazing story and then they can't formulate into a way that makes sense to me, right? I'm like, well, how does that make sense? Because part of it also is knowing your audience and how you formulate that to your audience. So like, should someone start reading books somewhere? Should they get a coach somewhere? Like what's a good step there?
Yeah, you know, and I want to be able to give all your audience like a very valuable gift at the end, but it's related to getting stages. But dude, you're hitting on like the most critical part is like people have to tell their story. So first off, the first thing that you have to think is what action do you want people to take when you're done talking? Like what do you want them to do? What action do you want them to take? And so as I share my story, it connects to the fact that I want people to be able to share their story on stages and be able to scale past the stage. And so your story has to connect to the actions that you're giving to people. So you're taking them along your hero's journey, your kind of struggle to slaying the dragon. That's what you have to do. You have to take them on this journey. You have to storytell. You can't dump. You just said it, Anthony. You have people share your story and it's like dumping. You have to take them on this journey of, I went through this. This were my struggles. This is what I faced. And then I slayed the dragon and I figured it out and I booked 25,000 stages. And I want to tell you how you can do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. That's the journey you have to take them on, is you have to take them on a journey of the hero's journey. And if your audience doesn't know a lot about that, you can go Google that, or you can join us on one of our trainings too. We do trainings every week, but you have to take them along a journey that's now about to connect to the meat and potatoes of how you're going to change their life. So that's what you have to do, is you got to understand that. And so our story braid framework, I'll tell your audience our story braid framework. When America was number one in the world in academic achievement, it's when the focus was on the heart of the young person. This ties into how you need to tell your story. It was when the teacher said, Johnny dropped 12 marbles on the ground. Sally picked 3 of them up. How many did Johnny have to pick up? And the answer was 9, but they were telling a story to illustrate compassion and kindness in the midst of a mathematic problem. And so teachers taught that way. So teachers knew that in order to get the kids to open up their minds and get their hands to take action, it had to start with the heart. So you couldn't just go tell people what to do. You had to make them feel. Yeah. Maya Angelou, or I can't think of her name, she said, people are going to forget what you say. They're going to forget what you do, but they're never going to forget how you make them feel. Well, as soon as you make them feel, the first part of the story braid is understanding how to tell your story with the hero's journey format that doesn't just dump on people, that makes their hearts feel. Because when America focused on the heart of the kid, they were number one in the world in academic achievement. Now it's shifted from here to here, and they're in the 30s, bro. The 30s in every major category because of one fundamental shift from here to here. So make them feel, start with their heart, tell the hero's journey, and then their minds are opened up to listen to what you have to tell them. It's wide open, bro. You can now give them challenges. So you now give them 3 critical challenges that are going to allow them to walk out of your presentation or as you tell your story to take action. You give them 3. Some people like to do 5. Don't do the 66 things that you need to do to get your life right. No, do 3 to 5. Dude, I've seen too many speakers that do that. So do 3 to 5.
Right.
And then, so now you went from the heart to the head, and now it's critical to go for the hands. Give them what they need to take the call to action, to take the call to action. And whether the call to action is you're selling something deeper that can transform their life. See, I love when you sell something, because those 60 minutes don't change their lives. It's them spending more time with you over 3 days, or in your coaching, or in your services, or whatever you have to offer them. That's what changes their life. So whether the call to action is something you're selling, or listen to this, the call to action is for them to take action when they walk out of that room to do something different. Case in point, my dad. He finally wrote a letter because everybody in the world wasn't saying, you need to make things right with your son. You need to make things right with your son. No, it was, here's my daughter's story. And here's the 3 critical things that you have to do to be the greatest parent out there. And oh, by the way, I want you to go tell 5 people that in your life that you love them. And if you need to ask for forgiveness from any of those 5 people, then do that. And my dad did it. Heart, head, hands. That's the order. That's the story braid framework that people have to follow. And I want to tell you, every great story braid that you can create, because guess what? All of you, you don't have one story. You have multiple stories. But every great story, there are much more deeper products and services on the back end of that can change people's lives as well. So every great one that you can architect with that story braid framework, that's how people tell story, bro.
I love it. And I think that's very powerful. I got people saying, like, I'm following every word of this. I am too. I'm like, yeah. It's dead on, though. I think that's a big part of it. One thing I like is you're not in here saying it's all about making money. You can sell more. It's not. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's about creating revenue, which people don't comprehend. It's not about making millions of dollars to be able, like, to be completely, nobody would even know. Like, when I first met you, I didn't know you were a multi-million-dollar speaker and travel. Like, I didn't know that. And I wouldn't even think that, because that's how you carry yourself. Your thing is the message. When you approach, this is why I want you to be at my event. This is why you will be there. Anybody that's going to come renew you'll be speaking there. Is because I like heart-centered people. When you do it the right way, the money comes. And then when you find, like, what you do is fulfilling you and you make money from that, then you have all parts of richness. And so I think that's a big thing, and it comes from making impact. You make impact, income will come. Yeah.
Dude, there's too many people, and I loved how you started, and I'm just going downstairs into our offices, but I loved how you started, Anthony, in the sense that, you know, I want to know about all the great things about you, but I want to understand your why. And I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of people who are going to disagree with me on this, not on your call, because I know who you attract, but too many people come on stage and, dude, it used to work, but they just talk about how great they are. They brag about how great they are. And then people can never connect with them because struggle is a part of life. And then all of a sudden they, you know, it just doesn't work. People don't connect with that, bro. And so that's why I believe that framework is authentic. It's real. And it's what people want. They want to understand that you've been through struggle.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's why that's the framework. So
I like it. So as we get towards that part of it, is the how to monetize. I guess that'd be the next phrase. You can step into that. I understand why you do. This whole concept today is how to monetize your message. So if you were to summarize what you can in a quick way, not even fast, quick, whatever you feel like doing, you got time. but how do you monetize a message? How could someone say, okay, I can go and, like you just said, I can go and do this action to make it take place?
Yeah, no, that's great. So first off, I believe in the power of stages. So you guys, there are 3 critical things to I believe, getting your message out there. You got to be able to tell your story the right way. You got to be able to get on stages, and you have to know how to scale past the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And people think about stages. They're like, I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. I need you to know that sharing your story and speaking your message is what's going to create the revenues that you need. So the second part, really the second part of the scale is the second part of the theory is you got to have scale. Mm-hmm. So if I'll kind of close and show people how to go get some stages today, or how to begin that process of getting some stages today. Mm-hmm. And but you got to have scale. And so what is your scale? And there are 8 major ways that people can scale past the stage. Mm-hmm. A lot of people talk about 2 or 3 of them, and I'll give your audience really quickly all 8 of them, which I'm looking at Cody here. Like, I don't have my PowerPoint because sometimes it's easy to forget 8. But when you speak, or when you have the opportunity online or offline to be able to share your story, the first way that you can scale past the stage is speaking more. You can speak more. And so when you're speaking, you can speak more. I don't love that, because you're living stage to stage. What we call is, I don't want you guys to be road warriors, but I do want you guys to be on the right stages. So if you're on a scalable stage, offline stages convert like crazy. They want to go deeper with you because they get to experience you. Like, this is cool, but if this is the first way I met Anthony, I wouldn't connect with him like I had at the mastermind a couple of weeks ago that we put on, in our hotel. And so that offline stage is powerful. So I would encourage people to do that. But the first way you scale is by speaking. Now, here's the cool thing is, if your content is amazing, which I'm sure a lot of your audiences is, you now can scale your content through other trainers and speakers too. I talked about this man, Daryl Scott. Well, he was the guy speaking. He was the road warrior. But because he had great content, he now has around 50 people on an annual basis that deliver his content for him. So when he speaks on stage, he lands more speaking gigs, but it's for all of these other trainers who are going out and delivering it. So the first way, kind of 101 is you get booked for more stages, but 201, 301, 401 is you begin to have a team of people sharing your content. Pete, that's great, but he's a big organization. Well, he was a single man 10 years ago. Another great friend of mine, his name's Manny Scott. Go look up Manny Scott online. Manuel Scott, brilliant dude. Started by himself. He's now scaling and has a team of other people sharing his content around the world. So first way that you can scale is by speaking. Mm-hmm. So you share your message, you get more speaking gigs because you're on the right stages. The second way that you can scale is through sponsorship. And I won't get into that a lot, but we've landed millions of dollars of sponsorship. And you can land sponsorship if you're a for-profit or a nonprofit. You can. People want to sponsor your books. They want to sponsor your events. They want to sponsor your programs. They want to sponsor your products. Why? Because you're going to bring them financial ROI or social equity ROI. Mm-hmm. Because the people that you're speaking to or that are consuming your programs are their audience. That's their customers. And so who serves your customers? Start putting your message out there in front of those people who give sponsorship dollars. $21 billion last year in America alone was given to sponsorships, both nonprofit and for-profit. Mm-hmm. So as you share your story, you get it out in front of the right people. I'm talking young kids, 20-year-olds getting their school programs sponsored for $250,000, really? And because they got their message in front of people who make decisions about sponsorship. So sponsorship's the second way that you can scale. Okay. Third way that you can scale is coaching.
Makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people coach. I don't need to dive into that, but when you speak and people are like, oh, I want to go deeper with that person, you can coach. Fourth way that you can scale is what we call training and consulting. We've been a part of landing 7-figure training and consulting deals. So corporations or associations hear you, and then they want to be able to do a deeper training consulting deal with you. So that's the fourth way you can scale. Mm-hmm. Fifth way you can scale is a cause or a mission. I believe all of you out there that have stuff, Dude, I just saw something that made me laugh. It says Pete resembles Ty Lopez. Dude, I'm better looking than Ty Lopez. Come on. So
I think whoever's M Lassoff, you can only coach. So
yeah,
no, I think this. So we have a troll. Those are always good.
Yeah.
It's actually doing well. It means we're doing right. So I appreciate you, M Masselhoff, but we'll keep going.
So fifth way is physical products and our cause and mission, Anthony. I believe people out there who have 501c3s, and I meet them at all of Brendan's events, don't use speaking enough, because I saw when people spoke and they had 501c3s, them land a lot of donors on the back end. Gotcha. So speaking is powerful when you have a cause or a mission. That's the fifth way you can scale. Sixth way you can scale, I won't get into this too much, is physical and digital products. Physical and digital products are the world that we know really well, Anthony. And quite frankly, it's one piece of what people talk about a lot, especially the digital products. But when you speak, I mean, when I speak online, the digital product sales that take place are really powerful. So that's the sixth way that you can scale. Seventh way that you can scale, I've told you six. Seventh way, I've got it right here, are services.
Okay.
Hey, watch this. Infusionsofts of the world are incredible at this. They buy stages to share they share their story on stage for 60 minutes. It's always a guy who's trying to use that story braid format of like, I had this business, it wasn't automated, and then I found Infusionsoft, and it's awesome. And then they tell the great 3 things about Infusionsoft, and then they close, and then they ask you to say, hey, would you like to buy Infusionsoft? I know there was a guy who came and spoke to me and 11 CEOs in town around social media. He spoke. He had social media services on the back end. Kyrie, you need to hear this. He had social media services on the back end. He shared 60 minutes of incredible content using the story braid. He couldn't sell because that was one of the requirements. He didn't get paid a whole lot to be there, $2,000. And he landed multiple CEOs because he had $10,000 retainers on the back end that people went and looked him up and said, dude, what you shared with us was so good. Multiple of the CEOs bought his services. He used speaking to land the 7th scale with his services. And then the 8th way that you can scale, the final way that you can scale, is what we call seminars. And Anthony, it's basically doing your own event. It's your own public event. Every single person on here needs to do their own event, period. I'm so excited for Anthony doing his own event in August. If you're not there, you're crazy, because I'm going to be there. He's going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And you need to be there. It's going to be fun. I'm coming around my birthday time to be there with him, and I'll share what I'm talking about more in depth. But the 8th way that you can scale is by doing your own event. And so a couple of questions people ask. Basically, when you speak, you want people in the audience that can buy one of those 8 things from you past the stage. That's what I mean by scaling past the stage. Your income is not reliant on just you speaking. It's when you speak and the people in the audience are the people that want what you have to offer past the stage. That's why the scale is important, because when people do this right, they'll 10x, 20x. Some of our clients 100x their stages from their speaking fee because of their scale. So I know that's a lot. That's really meaty, but I hope that really helps people. So
it helps. I mean, honestly, I took a lot of notes. Anybody that wants the notes, I put them actually on the right-hand side. So P. Vargas, 8 steps to scale past the stage. So I wrote it all down in the notes for you guys. And I think that's huge, because I think one of the questions someone says are all unscalable things. So keep in mind that these in and of themselves are a scale, not they're scalable, right? And then also when you look at the coaching and consulting, those are also scalable, because you can have people underneath you teach your content, or definitely the online course portion. If you go to the area where is it? Physical service, physical and digital products, those are definitely scalable. So digital products are all scalable. So like right now, if I go on a stage, I can say, if you want more information, text Anthony Truck to 38470, and it drops them into an automated scalable online course program that drops into a bunch of different areas. So the idea is that those, M. Lashoff, those are scalable, but the things he's talking about are scale past the scalable process. The first step of that scalable process is the stage. The second step could be physical and digital products, could be services and seminars. A lot of it is scaled within there. So I'm trying to make sure that clarity is there for people.
That's huge because I saw that comment from a couple of people. I'm not saying all of those 8 areas of some of those are much more scalable on the back
Yes.
end. I mean, digital products are much more scalable than like one-on-one.
Obviously.
When you share your story, there are people out there that want to coach. I don't want you to have to go to every restaurant one-on-one and say, hey, do coaching with me, do coaching with me, do coaching with me. If you have a passion to coach, I want you to share your story in front of 200 people, 500 people, 1,000 people that all need it. Now you don't have to go have those one-on-one conversations. Perfect example, Grace Smith. You can look her up, gracesmith.tv. Mm-hmm. She was on a stage. She was struggling to fill her coaching appointments. She is passionate about coaching. I'm not saying coaching one-on-one is scalable, but people want to do it, and they love it, and they know they can make a great full-time living with it. She got on one stage. She did one thing that we told her to do, and she gave us a quote. She said, I booked my coaching calendar out for the next 9 months when I was struggling to have it filled because of speaking on one stage. She didn't have to call every single person and say, hey, would you coach with me? Would you coach with me? She spoke on one stage, mm-hmm. and because of that, a person who's passionate about coaching, 9 months of booked calendar, and I think it's up to 12 months now from what I hear. I hope that brings clarity.
It's odd. I don't think for him it does. It's completely okay though. It's actually it's almost comical at this point. I think the idea reality is it's kind of the concept of saying scalable means what can you do informationally to create the aspect of income past that thing you're singularly doing. Because you can go on the stage and say, okay, because I have friends that they speak everywhere. They're gone from their families for 2 months. They got to travel around the world. And it's like, okay, it's cool, but that's not scaling your reach to the audience past that stage. You go to the stage, you make your income, and I walk away, and that's all. But the idea is if I want my message, first off, outside of income, if you want your message to have reach, you've got to be able to have yourself in more places than just that stage right now. Because whenever you get off that stage, now you're unemployed. The idea is say, what else can I provide these people to make more impact? So if you have coaching, like you said, you have 60 minutes. If I have 60 hours past this of coaching or an online seminar or something we're doing, you have so much more aspect of connection with people to develop that message in them, to them have them help share it and grow it.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And there's a Zig Ziglar quote that we use, but I'm going to summarize it from you. But it basically says, if I present to you, it's going to be cool. And can you pull that quote up? I want to share this with your audience because scaling does a few things. It allows you not to have to live on a stage to make a living, like you said. But it also, when you have things that aren't service-based related, it also outlives you. It outlives you. So your impact is greater whenever you actually leave this earth one day. Scale allows you not only to have a lot of revenues while you're here, but it allows your impact to be long-lasting and very much legacy while you're here. And so Zig Ziglar says that it's, if I can give a speech and it can make an impact on people's lives, but here it is. It says, I've never changed someone's life with a speaking gig, but sometimes I do a speaking gig and they buy my cassettes. And if they buy my cassettes, I have a shot at changing their lives. Zig Ziglar. And guess what? He's no longer with us today, but he's still changing people's lives because he has created scalable options, kind of the double scalable. He's scaled past his speaking gigs and he's created things that live much longer than himself. So I do believe, like Anthony, that digital products are very important. Physical products are really important because those will live beyond you.
Yeah, so. I fully agree. Are you reading the comment?
Yeah, I know cassettes, dude. I know cassettes are no longer around. I get it, dude. I get it.
I can't tell if the guy is serious or if he really is just, I don't know. I'm not one to make a split judgment without knowing somebody. I hope he's joking because that's very literal. We're talking about you read a quote. Literally read a quote. Anyways, this is the world we live in. You'd be surprised. When I go on Periscope, I get some people. One guy in Periscope said 666, I'm Satan. Really interesting. 33.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's it. I always have one random question I ask people, and I like this question. I for some reason, have got some interesting responses from it, so I'm going to use it again. The question is, you're standing in an open field for some reason, you just happen to be. A portal opens up in front of you. You don't know where it goes. You have no idea how long it's going to be open. Do you go through it or not?
Wow. Bro, you didn't give me the heads up on that question.
Not supposed to.
I probably 13 years ago say yes, and today because I have 3 kids, I say no.
I'm in the same boat, man. I got my 3 children. I'm sticking around.
I mean, 13 years ago, I'm still a risk taker. Don't get me wrong, but you take more educated risks now whenever you have kids. So I'd probably say
if I was by
no.
myself, I would. I've always wondered that. Like, I'm wondering because I grew up in like crazy situations. Sometimes kids that grow up in stuff like we grew up in, like, turn into like phenomenal like spies. I'm like, what if I never happened upon the family that adopted me and I was like some amazing like international spy that had no name and no fingerprints? That'd be interesting. Go through portals, live life.
Yeah.
That was an offshoot, but that's just my thought process sometimes. So anything else you want to share with us? And then how can people reach you? If someone want to reach you?
Yeah, let me give people one quick hack. I told them I would tell them how to go get a stage. And so a lot of people, so first off, make sure you understand how to tell your story and practice that first. Because if you don't practice that story braid format, it's going to be really hard to go do this. And so, Anthony, they can go to advanceyourreach.com
Just type it in.
forward. I mean, they can go to, I'll type it in here in a second. And we do like a 70-minute training on all the stuff I'm talking about. But I want to give them one more. I'm going to give them a gift first. It's Renew, advanceyourreach.com renew, and that's live, right? /renew. There you go. We got a free gift for you, and it's actually the structure that we use to book any stage in the world. It's a 9-page execution plan. It's our step-by-step process to landing any stage that you want right there. It's what we've used for over a decade, and it's what we use with all of our students and coaching students and all of our clients today. And it will give you a literally a step-by-step plan on how to land any stage, both offline and online.
Awesome.
So this is what I want to encourage you to do. Stage, that's the third part of this component. You need to get your message out in front of people. Anthony has 41 people on here right now listening to his message. And I love that. And you guys connect with him because he's a great dude. You need to do the same thing. And so right now there's a really popular thing online called online summits. Mm-hmm. It's one of the multiple online stages that we teach you to win. At Advance Your Reach. And online summits will have 10, sometimes hundreds of people opt in for them, but most of them are getting 10,000 plus people that opt in for this online summit. So it's not a physical stage, it's an online stage. So they position it like there's no travel, you get to hear all these world-class speakers, it's incredible, come, and then they sell the recordings for a couple of $100 for people to be able to buy the recordings. Now here's the power. I don't really need I don't need the income or don't need any of that stuff. I believe there are online summits in every niche: health, faith-based, education, youth, corporate associations, small businesses, entrepreneurs, female, male, everything that you can think about. There's online summits out there right now. Go Google those online summits. Go Google them. Go Google them and find online summits that match your niche. Find online summits that match the niche of people that you would want to be in front of and sharing your story. Okay? Get 5 or 10 of them and see who the decision makers are. I did this with our coaching students. I found 5 or 10 that served speakers and entrepreneurs, and I went and shot them a quick video message. And I said, this is the script that I'm giving to you right now. My name is Pete Vargas. I just saw what you're doing, and I found those that resonated with me. There's a lot of summits that don't resonate. It's like, ooh, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So you need to pick and choose what resonates with you. Yeah, TEDx is a great one. And so I shot them a video email because guess what? A written email doesn't let them get to experience you. So this is what I said. I said, hey, it's Pete Vargas. Jonathan, I just saw what you're doing with Amplify Summit. I'm so impressed and blown away by the speakers that you have on there. You have over 27 speakers. I'm so excited. I serve speakers. I have an audience of speakers, and I want to find out more details about your summit. It's incredible. And you might say, who are you? Well, my name is Pete Vargas. 13 years ago, my life was impacted by a speaker. My dad and I's relationship was changed because of the power of one person with a message. And over the last 13 years, we've dedicated our lives to helping get speakers on stages. Over 25,000 or just shy of 25,000 stages, just shy of $50 million in speaking. And I'm just really blown away by what you're doing. I'd love to know how my people can be involved and how I can be involved. So let me know. And that was the basis of the video. You talk about them first. You talk about, because it hopefully resonated with you, you talk about how awesome that it is what they're putting on and how you might be able to serve them. You then talk a little bit about yourself, and then you ask them, I would love to be involved. Involved means many things. Within 48 hours later, I got an email back and said, man, Pete, I'd love for you to be one of the speakers on this summit. And the summit was actually going on at that time. I got to speak in front of 24,000 people who opted in. There was 24,000 that it got emailed to on a daily basis. Not all 24,000 obviously watched the content. Now watch this. Many of them have went deeper with us through our funnels, and many of them have become clients and students, or have become clients of ours within Reach Academy. And that is what every single person on this list can go do. And things they can go find online summits, online trainings, online webinars. Every association, every organization hosts them, and they're dying for great content, and that's what your people have to offer.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage you to go look for some online stages. Try to land some online stages, and make sure you follow something of that script. That's just kind of the script that we teach. That link that I gave you right there is a link that gives you that's the second step in the process. It's the video script. My video script is actually in that link that I gave to your crew right there. And we'll keep that up for a couple of days for you, Anthony, and just because
I'm going to send it again.
To serve them, man.
Renew. All right, advance your reach. All right, so I sent it again. Cool. All right, I think that's it. So if they want to reach you, they just go there. That's the best way to reach you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they can go to advanceyourreach.com and get that. And I'd love for you guys to go to advanceyourreach.com, connect with us. And if there's anything that we can do to serve you, I'd love it, man. I'm so excited to be at Anthony's event speaking on August 20th. And I hope I can meet many of you out there live and in person. So when is that? When does that go live, bro?
The live May 23rd. The actual event is August 19th, 2021.
But when can everybody on here actually sign up?
They can sign up actually the 10th. No. Cart opens 16th. So I launch all the videos the 10th. Actually, I film all the videos to lead in, all the value videos. I film those next Wednesday. I got a lot of work cut out in front of me still. Still a lot of stuff to get done. When I'm off the phone now in 5 minutes, I get back in the full of my course career. We finish up the last segments of the course design.
Hey, so anybody that's out there, I'll be out there, and I'll talk with my team, and I'll make sure that we bring something extremely valuable as a giveaway for your entire audience to be able to serve them. But you have to be at the event. It will be an event-only gift, something that is just I'll think about. Anthony and I will talk and think about what can serve his audience the best. And I'll make sure and bring something great. So you guys get signed up, and I can't wait to meet you guys out in California.
Cali, yeah. All right, man, that's it. So I appreciate your time. I'm gonna let you go. If you guys want to reach me, I always forget to introduce me. Just go to anthonytrucks.com. Pretty straightforward. Or go to facebook.com/AnthonyTrucks. I send videos out every day, every night. I do a whole lot of fun stuff with life. So that's it. I'm gonna pause recording or stop it now.